Hello people of the internet, welcome back. In this video I'm going to be trying to discuss what autism is from my perspective. So my name is Nell. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when I was 10 years old. I am now nearly 25, so it's been a while. And now autism has been combined into one diagnosis. So it used to be about 5 different diagnoses, one of which was Asperger's syndrome, which is what I was diagnosed with, but in 2013 they changed it, so it's now all combined as autism spectrum disorder. So hopefully this video will provide a basic understanding of what autism actually is from the perspective of someone who actually lives with it. I do have some notes over here, so I will be looking to the side occasionally, because I've needed a lot of notes for this video. If this video sounds interesting to you, carry on watching. So firstly, autism is essentially a neurodevelopmental disorder. So what a neurodevelopmental disorder is a disorder or condition that affects the way the brain develops and functions. It affects key areas such as communication, social interaction, behaviour, learning or motor skills. And this is a whole group of conditions, so there are other ones that are not autism, and they can affect individuals in many different ways. So autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that primarily affects social communication and interaction. So that includes challenges with social emotional reciprocity, so like sharing emotions and engaging in back and forth conversation, difficulties with non-verbal communication, for example, eye contact, body language, and understanding social cues, and challenges with developing, maintaining, and understanding relationships, along with restrictive or repetitive patterns of behaviour, interests, or activities. So in this section I'm just going to discuss what autism isn't and some things that people often confuse with autism. So firstly, autism is not an intellectual disability. A lot of people do have intellectual disabilities and autism together, but they are different things. So for example, I have autism and not an intellectual disability. So intellectual disabilities, they primarily affect cognitive abilities such as learning and remembering information and understanding concepts, whereas autism more affects social communication and behaviour. So they are kind of similar, and a lot of people have both, but they're not the same thing. Also, autism is not a specific learning difficulty like dyslexia or dyspraxia or any of those things, which normally are very specific in one area. Autism is a bit broader and affects a variety of different areas of functioning. However, again, a lot of people are autistic and dyslexic or autistic and dyspraxic. They do tend to go together a lot of the time, but they're not the same thing. You can have one and not the other. So you may have heard autism described as a spectrum. So that means that there's very diverse and different presentations of autism. So it used to be kind of referred to as high functioning and low functioning. Those terms aren't really used anymore because they're considered a little offensive, and one person doesn't necessarily neatly fit into one category. So we now talk more about like the kind of support that the person needs. So we may say like lower support needs or higher support needs. So some people also are able to mask autism, which means be able to learn to behave in a more socially acceptable way, and kind of learn to fit in that way. So some people's autism is much more subtle. Like someone like me, I have developmentally appropriate language skills, and I'm able to fit in quite typically into neurotypical society, despite the fact that I may seem a little strange at times and a little kind of awkward. However, some people who are autistic have much more significant needs, don't have any language skills at all, and may need 24-hour support from a caregiver. It's very, very different between different people, and everyone's experiences are very different. So it is believed that autism is mostly genetic. It's been found to be around 70% heritable, which means if the parents have autism, then the child has a 70% chance of having autism. A few genes have been identified, but we still don't have like one sure genetic marker for autism. So we think it's genetic, but we don't really know exactly which genes are involved. What it is not caused by is poor parenting. There was an older theory that said that autism was due to having like unemotional mothers. That's not true. There's also been theories of like, oh, well, it's just kind of indulgent parenting and you're just letting them get away with being weird when you shouldn't. Or there's a lot of theories like that. None of those are true. It's also not caused by vaccines, heavy metals, mold, 4G, water fluoridation, or any other weird conspiracy theory. We think it's mostly genetic, perhaps with a few environmental factors. So, the concept of neurodiversity is the idea that humans are designed to have variations in the way their brains work. So autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, everything else, they're all just natural ways, natural variations in how human brains work. And it kind of goes against the idea that these necessarily need to be cured, and focuses more on kind of working with these conditions rather than against them, kind of how we can integrate people with these differences into the world and support them rather than trying to fix them or change them. So this is something that I very much agree with, and I think it's very important to accept and understand and support autistic individuals with all different levels of needs. And I do think that everyone deserves respect and dignity, regardless of their neurotype and their abilities and disabilities. So the key takeaways from this video is that autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects social behaviour, communication, and often causes restricted and repetitive interests and behaviours. It is a diverse spectrum condition, meaning that a lot of people present very differently, so it can look a lot of different ways, and that it is important to understand that individual differences and neurodiversity are very important for society, and that it's not necessarily a bad thing to be autistic. I would also encourage you to learn more about autism and neurodiversity through reputable sources. I really like the National Autistic Society. They are very well researched and also have a lot of kind of very neurodiversity affirming resources. So if you're looking for sources, that's a very good place. And I would just like to leave with a positive message saying that everyone's different, and it doesn't matter what level of needs you have. There's a place for everyone in the world, and you don't have to try and justify your existence in any way. And thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!